Going into the next NBA season, the Toronto Raptors have a lot of questions to answer as a team. One of the players I believe that will answer a lot of those questions is Gradey Dick. He was a Raptors sophomore this year, and throughout his 2 seasons of play so far, he's shown a lot of growth, but there are some issues lying in his game that need some answering going into year 3, and today I'll break down his game and see where he can make improvements in his game to become what the Raptors need him to be. But before I get into that, I ask that y'all go down and subscribe. I'd really appreciate it. I'm trying to grow this channel day by day. And yeah, let's get into the video. So over this past NBA season, Gradey Dick averaged 14 points per game on 41% shooting and 35% from 3. Now, as you could clearly see from what I said from the stats, his efficiency is one of his main issues, and that's been his main issue for his career so far. When he was a rookie, he averaged 9 points per game on 42.5%, let's just round it to 43, and he shot 37% from 3. Now, I could explain his efficiency going down from his rookie year this year, obviously to the uppage in usage rate that he's experienced because the Raptors had a lot of injuries this past season. But one of the main issues of Gradey Dick's game is obviously his efficiency. And I think as Raptors fans, you've seen it a lot over this past season. When he started out the year, I believe he was averaging like 18 points per game on pretty decent efficiency. And then he kind of just cooled down and stagnated for the rest of the season and got to where he's at right now. So going into next year, obviously I don't believe he's going to get as much touches or get the usage as much as he did this past year. But he's going to have to prove that, he's a reliable shooter and he could fix his efficiency issues. Because going into the draft, Gradey Dick was viewed as the best shooter in the draft. And we haven't really seen that translate to the NBA yet so far. His rookie year showed promise. He had a down year last year, obviously, because he was doing more off the dribble. But I still do think he's a pretty good shooter. I mean, he's shown flashes of being one. So hopefully he's able to prove that this season and his efficiency goes up. The second problem I see with Gradey Dick's game is his finishing ability. Now, there wasn't really any statistics I could find showing his finishing percentage around the rim, but doing the math and having help with AI, he takes 12 shots a game, 6 of those shots are 2-point attempts, so that just goes to show how low his finishing rate is at the rim. And he probably finishes about 55 to 56% of his shots around the rim, which is alright, I guess, for a dude of his caliber. But in order to become one of the elite scorers in the league, you have to finish around the rim a lot. And in order for Gradey Dick's scoring to go up and for his game to improve, he's going to have to get better at finishing around the rim and obviously drawing free throws, which is something I'll go into. Now, he knocks down his free throws at a pretty good rate, at about 86% of his career so far, but he has to get fouled a lot, and obviously that goes inside with taking more finishes at the rim. So if Gradey Dick's able to, up his scoring around the rim, and obviously you'll get to the line more if you score around the rim more, the scoring is going to jump. I mean, we've seen the jump from year 1 to year 2. It's a 6-point difference, and that's literally just because he's got more touches. Now, imagine if, he added a couple of rim shots, more free throws, that scoring number's going to keep going up for Gradey Dick. And that's one of the main advantages and one of the main positives of Gradey Dick's game, his scoring ability. He's just oozing with confidence, and his scoring ability, I mean, you can clearly see it when he plays. He's very comfortable having the ball in his hands and, taking a good amount of shots. Now, sometimes he's very streaky, but, I like seeing that out of a young dude, and he's only been in the league for 2 years. A lanky guy like that with, the potential to be an elite shooter. So I definitely see that as being one of the promises in his game. Now, the last fault that I want to critique Gradey Dick on is his defense. Now, I really don't expect him to be like this elite defensive stopper kind of guy. But, he does get beat more often than not, a lot. And, that's something he needs to improve on. He has pretty decent size. He's like 6'5", 6'6", pretty lanky dude. So if he was just to be serviceable on the defensive end, that would be better than, what he's shown for the past 2 seasons. Now, realistically, what I see from Gradey Dick this year, I do see him fixing the efficiency problems a little bit, obviously because the Raptors are going to be healthy for the most part. You have Scotty Barnes coming back. Emmanuel Quickley's going to play. He got a new contract, so hopefully he balls out. RJ Barrett, you got him, Brandon Ingram. We're going to see how that looks with Scotty Barnes and Brandon Ingram. You know, Gradey Dick has to kind of mold himself, his game, and kind of fit into what the Raptors got going on. And honestly, for guys like Gradey Dick and Jacoby Walter, it's going to be these two guys. They have to compete for basically who fills this like spark plug scorer role. Jacoby Walter, he's shown a lot of promise. I kind of see them in the same boat, Gradey Dick and Jacoby Walter. And going into this year, I think we're going to see, you know, who the Raptors want to commit to and kind of mold them into like their spark plug six-man dude. I mean, Gradey Dick could start, but, you know, Emmanuel quickly got a new contract. And RJ Barrett, could he be traded later in the, you know, towards the trade deadline? Perhaps, but, I mean, let's imagine a world where RJ Barrett's averaging like over 20 a game and, you know, you're a top 5 seed in the East. I don't see them trading RJ Barrett. Now, if they did trade RJ Barrett, then, you know, no issue. Gradey Dick's going to start and, you know, he's going to put up his production or whatever. But I definitely do see the season starting out where Gradey Dick's probably the sixth man off the bench. The Raptors kind of see what they got with him, see his improvements so far. And he could be a spark plug dude easily. I mean, like I said, in the beginning of the season, last season, he started out averaging like 18 a game, I believe. So if he could put that production off the bench, you know, that's kind of realistically what I see for him. Improved efficiency, improved the three-point shooting, maybe even higher volume of the three-point shooting. Hopefully he works on his finishing ability and gets to the line more. And yeah, Gradey Dick could be, you know, one of those high spark plug dudes, six-mans, giving you like 18 to 20 off the bench. And as a starter, you know, who knows? Maybe they trade RJ Barrett and, you know, that allows Gradey Dick to even become more than that. But that's just my thoughts on Gradey Dick so far in his career and what I see for him going into next season. You guys can let me know what you think. Comment down below, like, subscribe, and I'll catch y'all next time.